Good early afternoon, Internet.
Merry Advent to you all, the blessed one.
Huzzah, huzzah. And we find ourselves in the post-Christmas malaise, as some people see it. Um, I don't know. I like after Christmas, so it's good. It's like you get to relax and all the decorations are still up, and you're not worrying about running out and getting gifts for everybody. So I very much like post-Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, very well. The
Well, your
reason
family keeps you. I believe your family keeps your Christmas decoration up until April, or March or thereabouts.
mid-February.
Okay, fine. I don't
um,
feel it to be not so normal to keep up to like January or so. So
oh
that's
yeah,
that's fine.
we usually keep them up through January. Cause I mean, like, 'cause you can't really do Easter decorations till Easter happens.
No, you really can't. My family just like puts those like weird 2000 stuff where it sticks onto the glass and you see it on the other side,
Oh,
like eggs.
like the eggs. Okay, I know
Yeah,
exactly what
yeah,
you're
the
talking about.
stick-on eggs.
The what are they called? They're called like window gels.
Yeah, they don't have them anymore, probably because they have too many chemicals and stuff.
We have one or two of those for Christmas, but like not like that much.
You can't really see them at night. Christmas lights would obstruct it, would like light pollute them anyway.
Also true. So, the reason that we have gotten together for this little post-Christmas shindig is though we've been taking some time off. Don't worry, we haven't gone anywhere. We just really needed some time off. Um,
I'm in Delaware though, but other than that, I haven't really gone anywhere for December. My December's kind of been boring and hectic.
mine's been busy, and I've just taken a lot of time to just sort of try and enjoy between the busy.
Well, for the record, most of our December together has been complaining about finals and sharing furry memes, but we don't talk about that.
Thanks, Matt. So
It's true.
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Um, so um, we're talking about the basically our what we decided to do this year for our relationship with no, oh wow, that came out wrong. Um
Our
okay.
relationship with the Japanese video television interaction industry.
Basically what we're talking about, what video games we got with our Christmas money and why we got them and why we're looking forward to them.
Okay, I have a longer list, so maybe you should go first.
I will go first. I got a bunch of games. I think I got 10 in total from Steam
Oh, I might have gotten that much. I don't know, but
with the collected different gift cards and cash you receive from different relatives throughout the holidays. Uh, my family we like to give each other pretty decent gifts. So like we don't usually like the one thing is like we tend to go pretty all like Matt, you've been over to my house. We tend to go pretty all out for Christmas.
trying to remember. I think you're right.
I counted we had 31 nativities from when you walk in the front door.
That's true. The
Our
like museum.
Yes, my family gets very into Christmas. So basically from Steam, I got the Monkey Island bundle pack, which is they were selling
All three of them in the enhanced edition,
four.
right?
It's four. It's
Or
it's it's the first.
quadrilogy.
It's the first two, which are both have the classical version and the special edition, and then there's Escape from Monkey Island and the Curse of Monkey Island. I got that just because I've been watching a lot of videos from I don't know, there's a YouTuber called Pushing Up Roses. She's really cool. You should check out her channel. She focuses a lot on adventure games, and I'm coming to the fact where it's like I don't like action games that much. I'm not that good at them.
Platformer or
Like
action?
action, like shooters, and
Oh, okay.
I don't necessarily like I don't have the I don't,
Personality.
yeah, I just don't have like the wherewithal to keep up with so much information. I prefer to take things at a slower pace, which because if you look at my Steam page, my number one played game is a baseball simulation game. Why? Because I find that very interesting. I find the details and the artistry and going slow and exploring, and that's what I really like. So
I can see you liking Metroid though, but it's Nintendo. I don't know if that counts. And
Metroid
maybe TF2 to a certain extent because it's social. I don't know.
I've tried Team Fortress 2. I'm just not a big fan. Um I do enjoy Metroid. I have the first Metroid. It's a bit obtuse. It's a little bit obtuse for me. But I do enjoy. I feel like an updated Metroidvania game I could very much be interested in.
It's a bit like Luigi's Mansion because you got like these rooms really with like keys, sort of like you had to have like ice beam to get into this room. That's how I kind of
Yeah,
imagine it.
yeah. That would be Metroidvania. I would describe Luigi's Mansion as more of a, I don't know. Would you describe it as an adventure comedic horror adventure? Maybe I don't
I
know.
don't know. Let's not analyze Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion.
So I got those. I got those four games. I got Automation, which is it's a very involved. Basically, you can. It's partially like a tycoon game, but you can also build cars and export
But
them.
a company too, right?
Yeah, you can also like build cars, but export them to a driving simulator. The actual cars that you design. That's interesting to me because like, as much as I'm not a very sciency person, like I'm not very good at math. It's not the easiest thing in the world for me.
Me neither. You know, I'm a
I
coder. Supposed to
yeah,
be.
I enjoy making things. I love things that move. I'm very interested in trains and cars. Like as a child, I'm
It's an
just
educational game in the best possible sense, not in a tacky '90s way, but like actually teaches you something about something.
I just realized I said like a bunch of times. I hate when I do that. Like I just did it again.
No, don't worry about it.
I know, but it's one of those things that just drives me crazy when people use uh words
We're
like
both bad with lip
over and
noises, like licking, like doing, like clicking our tongues before we talk. I noticed, but I just noticed that during editing.
I've noticed that too, and if anybody out there in the viewership of the Grand Internet Information Highway has anything else that we do that annoys you, please do let us know in a nice way.
Our first email.
Our first email. Yeah, you guys suck and you make weird noises all the time.
Lumpy Space Robbie.
Another reference that nobody on this channel listening to this channel will remotely get. All right, so
No.
I got Automation. I got Sam and Max Hit the Road
A
because
lot of Lucas games in there.
yeah, I feel like point and click adventures might be the thing for me. I enjoyed them when I was a kid. Uh, lately because I've just been dealing with a lot of anxiety issues towards this semester, so I've been wanting to kind of go back to things that I've been finding a lot of peace in things that interested me more like when I was younger that I got out of for a while. So looking back to stuff like baseball, cooking, looking at cars and things, looking at model trains, things that I used to really enjoy when I was younger, but kind of got away from. And I found actually a lot of positive release in those things. Um, and I also got Yomawari Night Alone, which was a game that I have been wanting to buy for quite a while now. It just interests me. The art style I think is beautiful. The concept is fascinating. I saw a Let's Play of it a while ago, and from seeing the Let's Play, I thought it'd be a scary but attractive game that I could get into. Like it's spooky, but it's not too horrifying. You get what I mean?
Yeah, that it's hard PG-13.
No, I wouldn't even say that. I mean, I haven't played it yet, so I
Yeah,
couldn't speak for it. But I wouldn't
is
necessarily
that
say that it's like I haven't played it yet, and
you haven't played it? Okay, that makes sense.
I
But
haven't played it.
what you read?
From what I've read, from what I've seen, it seems like it'd be something up my alley. It seems to blend cutesy and horror, not necessarily horror, but like darker themes and Japanese folklore.
Like Gothic Lolita fashion.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not not in that way, but I do have a great interest in Japanese folklore as I took a Japanese literature course, well, Asian literature course, but I was most interested in sort of the Japanese folk legends and sort of the evolution of horror, modern horror, coming from those roots. I wrote a very long paper about it that I know you've read.
Yeah, I have.
and I find that very interesting. I got a one graphic novel that I don't know. I'm not sure I'm interested in it, but hey, it was like 99 cents.
Was that the one I read or no?
No, you haven't read it yet. It's a game. I haven't read it. I don't know if you own it. I don't think you do. Um, and then I got Out of the Park Out of the Park Baseball 2019. I have the 2018 edition. The 2019
Hmm.
edition. A lot of people were saying if you had 18, you didn't need to buy the 19 edition. They're pretty similar. The only real upgrade was graphics.
Hmm.
Like there have been one or two mechanical optimizations. The reason I bought it is because it was $4, and as much
Wow.
as I enjoy the 18 version, and as much as I've worked on building the league I made up as a child, like I made up a whole baseball league when I was a
Hmm.
kid and managed it on paper, and now that I'm able to do it in computers, it's wonderful. It fills up a lot of my time. It has a very calming quality. I enjoy it, and getting a newer version of that at least more accurately reflects reality is exciting to me. And it was $4. And then I got Okami HD. I love the original Okami on
What's up with
PlayStation.
that game? It seems like people like it, but I don't get the appeal.
You don't
It's
get
more
the
of like an
appeal.
art game or what?
I think because art, as in yes, is a labor of love. It is. It's an exquisitely detailed game. It's beautiful. It's elegant. It's exciting. My main problem with it was that I had a hard time doing the drawing portions and the combat portions with the PlayStation controller. I
Hmm.
I like it's like I can do a PC shooter. I can
Hmm.
handle a PC shooter. I enjoy playing Mass Effect and the Mass Effect series on the PC, but I can't play shooters on Xbox just because I cannot figure out dual stick controls. But I can do a mouse and WASD just fine. So it was a game that I liked, but I struggled to play because I couldn't, and that I never finished because I struggled too much with the controls. Not because they're bad, just because I'm bad.
An ID1T error.
Yes, an idea. It was a problem exists between chair and keyboard. Yeah, uh, but I'm looking forward to playing that with a mouse and WASD because at this point I've always struggled to do 3D with like even Mario 64 I had a tough time with sometimes.
Really?
I have no idea why. The funny thing is I can't do racing games with a computer though. I have to use an Xbox
I don't
controller
think
for
I
that.
really can either. I don't blame you for that.
Yeah, I have to use that and I can't do platforming on the computer either. It's I thought I could learn. People are like, "Oh, you can learn to do this." And I'm like, "I can't."
I have a joystick anyway, so I bought ahead in
Oh,
time.
nice.
So I'm gonna have to find out the hard way whether or not I can play platformer on
Mm,
PC.
mm.
I have a really nice joystick. It might be $20+, which you can get pretty good for that.
I don't know, is it like a fighting game joystick or
It's
something?
more like a pilot game
Oh, okay, okay,
joystick.
okay. I got you. I got you.
It plugs into a USB port.
Nice.
So that's all your games?
Yep, those are the games that I used to get on sale. I'm pretty happy with my purchases. I'm probably most looking forward to Out of the Park 19 and the Monkey Island ones. Automation is something that I'm excited about, but I'm not sure what to expect from it. And the others are games that I've wanted for a while. I just haven't gotten.
So not a single RPG. That kind of surprised me.
Yeah. Well, maybe Okami question mark. But yeah, no, odd for me, not a single RPG out of the group.
The RPGs can be expensive though.
They can be, and of the ones on my list, none of them seem super interesting to me. I mean,
Hmm.
like, I Am Setsuna wasn't on sale. at all.
Hmm.
And
I don't know anything about it, but
I've heard mixed things about it. And there was two other ones that I had
Baldur's
on
Gate
there.
I know, which I
Baldur's
bought.
Baldur's Gate was interesting. I came to the point where I was deciding between getting Baldur's Gate and out of the and Yomawari and Out of the Park because they're about the same price. Because for Baldur's Gate, I decided to go with the thing with the better deal and get two games instead of one.
Interesting. And that's the Dungeons and Dragons thing too.
It is, and I've wanted to play it. And I'm sure there's people commenting about how inaccurate our information was about it when we talked about it before.
Oh gosh.
That was bad.
No, we only got comments on Tolkien versus Keeley, but I'm sure eventually, if we get famous, then even when we have
Yes.
the corrector nerds.
Just hide the first like 20 episodes.
Once we both buy it, we can do an episode about it. Once we first play like first 50 hours of it, you know.
Yes. Oh my word. Speaking of Tolkien, I got the illustrated Silmarillion and the Lord of the Rings quadrilogy, starting with The Hobbit.
So you never owned it.
I never owned it until this Christmas, so that's exciting. I'm very interested in delving deeper into the lore firsthand rather than listening to it.
And I need to throw you that chuck of stuff that how the Silmarillion was written, or at least have you go through it, because I'm like not interested in it anymore.
I'd be very interested to dig into it. All right, so it is your turn. What did you purchase with your flippity floppity money cash from the holidays? Slam jiggity, yo.
I got I wrote down what I got for Christmas in general as much as I got from Steam. I got for Switch Super Mario Party, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, which really is Ultimate.
I didn't know you got Ultimate.
They have so much memory on the Switch. So they literally got every like unlockable character. I mean, not like you don't get like off the bat, but like every like character you could have gotten from like Melee and Brawl. So they have like Marth and Dr. Mario and like Mewtwo and everything. But plus like they have Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII, a Midgar stage.
I was Marth one year for Halloween.
Really?
Yes.
What year was that?
I don't remember.
No, I didn't even know you played Fire Emblem.
I didn't. I only knew him from Smash Brothers. I just thought Marth was really cool.
I'd like to see that picture of that.
I have the hair. I had the hair at the time.
Also, Octopath Traveler, which is probably some of the interesting combinations of graphics I've ever seen.
It's beautiful, though, isn't it?
How many hours are you into it?
Let's see. I did some last Christmas. I did some around Easter. I want to say like 4 or so.
I'm not even a full hour, but that's
it's
fine.
not that it's not that it's not a good game or not that I'm interested in it. It's just that this past year's been insane for me. I haven't been able to do my normal amount of video game.
And it's important.
Yeah, it's important stuff, but I've been very preoccupied this year.
I'm the thief because I heard his from reviews that his story was interesting. I don't know what you are.
I'm the merchant.
The merchant lady. Okay.
Merchant lady, yes. Because capitalism.
And the king steals half your wealth anyway.
Hey, medieval problems require medieval solutions.
I also got Final Fantasy VI on. It was my Steam list. My Final Fantasy VI because I actually heard it was the best game of all the series.
So have I. I've heard a lot of people close to the series say that was the best one.
Better than 7, which is saying a lot.
At least to me, based on what I've heard, like at least based on reviews, 6 appeals to me more than 7. 7 never appealed to me that much.
Huh.
Don't know why.
Both appeal to me. 8 doesn't appeal to me. It seems too untraditional. And 9 seems like a throwback, which is why I got. I mostly beat it, but that's another story. But
ha! Sorry.
with 6, it's weird because I heard the port isn't really good. It's kind of based off a remake from like the late 2000s, but
Mm.
it's kind of the only one they sell, and it was like $4 or something.
Oh, nice. And Final Fantasy stuff is usually never on sale or never on a good sale.
Yeah, I think winter sale is the only like sale that they have it like where it's good.
Mm.
And I don't really know much about it, except that the main villain Kafka is really like interesting. It's got like other interesting things in it, but I don't know if it's from like a story because I like story, but I don't know if it's like the battle system is cool, which I don't care so much about, unless it's like interesting, like in the way Undertale is. I don't know.
Interesting. I
Also
think
got
I think there are
what?
two different kinds of people. Like I'm thinking about like people who play RP. It's just like there are different people who play tabletops, and some people will be way more interested in the adventure and the storytelling, versus some people who will be much more interested in the combat mechanics.
And what are you?
I'm much more interested in the storytelling and
Me too. Yeah.
the social aspect of it. I don't mind having, as a dungeon master, I don't mind having my characters do a full. Thank you,
Battle
heavy.
that you're supposed to. Yeah.
Thank you, heavy breathing. Um, no, I don't mind. I don't mind them going through a whole session without battling, just social interaction, just
You
interacting
are
with.
okay with it.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that.
Okay.
Sometimes I actually
So would I
prefer
be.
it, but I also have characters players who are much more interested in combat and strategy. So finding a way to accommodate not just a style to accommodate both people, but a system that can easily accommodate both people is it's a challenge.
And you don't have to go for realism for something like that, or believability, which you insist of me using that word.
Believability, yes. Realism, no. All right, sorry. Moving right along on your
Yeah,
list.
I also got a game called Franbo, which I think either got from you or Gabrielle's wish list. Oh well, nobody knows who Gabrielle is anyway, but do they know? I don't think so.
I don't think they do.
Just a Drew's friend? I don't know.
She's my girlfriend. We've been
Yes.
together for quite a long time.
So anyway, Franbo, which I don't really know anything about. It looks like a goth game, but that didn't stop me. It just
I
looked this.
own Franbo. I haven't played it, and it does have a lot of gothic elements. It's it's kind of a disturbing game. I've watched Let's
The mental
Plays.
the mental institution and the evil ram or goat skeleton kind of drew me in. The story aspect.
I'm interested to play it. I haven't gotten a chance yet.
Oh.
Make my job harder. Anyway,
Anyway, Hat in Time, which is pretty politically progressive because it's about a girl played by I think no Ely Monty plays the villain Mustache Girl. It's like a Mario Odyssey style platformer for like $16. I actually got that instead of Planescape Torment because I already got Baldur's Gate, and
right.
that takes like hundreds of hours to complete anyway.
Start
So
with Baldur's Gate.
that's what a lot of people say. I mean, they say Torment's better game, but I'm kind of a novice when it comes to Dungeons and Dragonsology. But Hat in Time, it's like cartoony and it's like I heard it's disturbing at the end or something like that. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. It just looked I don't know, I had to get it.
Cool.
I also passed up getting Cuphead, which didn't really interest me.
It was one of those things like it was an indie thing, but it got a little bit overexposed to the point I was sick of people saying, "Here's this about Cuphead. Here's that about Cuphead." I'm just like, okay, it's cool. We get it. It has a really awesome art style and it's a well-designed platformer.
Moving on, I got Major Minor Complete Edition and
okay, that's the graphic novel I got too.
Now that's a furry game.
Moving along.
Portal 2, which I play the
Portal
most.
2.
Well, play the most after Baldur's Gate, which I don't really count. Psychonauts, which I don't know much about. It kind of looked like a weird.
Psychonauts.
It looked kind of like a weird spoof on like a 2000 Nickelodeon like sarcastic Invader Zim kind of show.
I hear it's a classic, but it's
It's platformer, right?
Yeah, but it's one of the ones that like I have on my PC. Like I'll hover over it, so I was wondering if I should play it, and it's like I don't know. Yes, like the concept appeals to me, but the art doesn't. I know that's probably gonna raise some people's ire, but the art just does not appeal to me.
Do you know anything about it other than that, or what?
It's considered a modern classic. Well, actually,
Hmm.
it's not that modern anymore, really.
No, like 2008 or 7 or
Yeah.
whatever. Oh well. Sonic Adventure DX, because I played the second one in like literally as a 7-year-old and beat it. Want to play the first
You're
one.
trying
It
a
was like
Sonic game, bless you.
it's like the what they say the last good Sonic game was like the one before 2006.
Mm.
That's kind of sad.
I could never get into Sonic. I tried the early ones, even like the good ones. It's too fast.
Too
I'm
fast. Sonic's
boring.
too fast. Sonic's too fast.
Sonic is too fast.
It's what funny because Sonic is like I think they try to market against like punk rock types by having like certain music and like the way it wants it, but it's like kind of the stereotype is like dorky people and losers are into it. You know,
It's that is the
I don't understand
stereotype.
that.
I legitimately do feel bad for fans of that series.
For the prejudice or the like just the or the way that some of them just are.
Yes. Just like, yeah, yes, it is a cringy fandom, but yes, people are like really jerks to them for not that much of. I mean, they're not bothering you, so
No.
I
And it's not like Bronies where it's like it's mostly good the thing itself, but like Sonic it's like it hasn't been even
right. It's
decent
like
since 12 years
right, and
ago.
I feel bad for people because they believe in something so much that's not delivering for them. It's
Yeah, it's true. It's like
it's
being a Browns fan.
it's like being a Cleveland Browns fan, except the Browns are doing all right now. But that's beside
Okay, well, it's being like an Indians fan. Where did
Cleveland
the Indians?
Indians. Cleveland Indians are doing just fine.
Okay, I'm sorry, Browns fan.
It's like being a Florida Marlins fan. It's
There you
you
go.
have brief flashes of brilliance, followed by long decades of company betrayal, failure, and then getting things at your expense, like a giant honkin' ballpark with a hideous sculpture in center field that nobody comes to, but the state paid for. City. It was the city.
The city. Okay, we don't offend all Florida here, just Miami.
So, okay, let's just see. India, Canada, the city of Atlanta,
We're cutting that
possibly
part out.
Japan, possibly South
South
Korea,
Korea.
and now the entire city of Miami.
We could do better than that. I think Santa's Canadian. No, I think he is. He's a nice guy. He lives where it's cold and snowy all the time. He gives out free stuff to everybody.
Where's red and white?
Yeah.
Hmm.
He's into retro toys, so maybe he's a hipster. No. Has a
Oh,
beard,
now
you
I'm
know.
remembering Santa. Now I'm thinking of Santa as a Canadian hipster. Make it stop.
With like plaid, with like,
Yeah, plaid man bun,
oh gosh.
like
Like,
cranberry skinny jeans.
had like cranberry Mountain Dew and is like in the cup holder of the sleigh.
But the sleigh is like designed to look like a communist car from like the 60s.
Like you mean like one of those German cars that like the Russians went around in or like whatever?
Um,
They're supposed to be like fake Lincolns or whatever.
the Lada, the big Ladas.
What's oh no no
Or no,
what's the funeral car that Kim Jong Un was in? Like one of those.
I see. This is supposed to be my thing, and I don't remember. I don't remember seeing any pictures of it. I do know that big Mercedes have a long time been
No, no.
a
What's
favorite of
that like
despots.
car where it looks like you're going back, where it looks like it's driving backwards, but it was the main villain in Cars 2. I think it was an East German car, right?
Oh, the one where you could go as fast forward as backwards?
I think it looked or something like that.
Are we talking about a Yugo?
No, it was the main bad guy in Cars 2. It was like a East German car or something.
Okay, well, the main villains I remember in Cars 2, they were it was an AMC Gremlin and Pacer, right?
The one who was German with the monocle. Don't you remember that?
Not ringing a bell. I'm
Oh, never
sorry.
mind. And the last game I got was Della Trune, which I which is like a sequel to Undertale. I don't know really much
Oh,
about that.
Deltarune?
Delta Rune, thank you.
There you go.
Oh,
Delich.
I thought it was like Japanese. Delatrune.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at. I'm
Imagine
just.
if we're both wrong.
It's Deal Tar Un. There you go. I'm sorry. Okay. That I've heard such good things about that. That's free though.
It is, which amazes me.
I really want to check that out. I haven't yet
Maybe
because
maybe
I know
Canadian
it's.
Santa made it because it's free.
You know what? Wait, is Toby Fox Santa Claus?
Oh, I guess that would make him Santa Claus giving away so much stuff
All right, this
during
was
Christmas.
proven. Toby Fox is Santa Claus.
Yeah,
Well, this has been an exciting episode.
just end there. No.
we insulted a large population of both East and West, and we decided that Toby Fox is Santa.
We do want to talk more about video games because we're going to talk about why we think video games work and what our favorite one is. I mean, I kind of wrote lengthy, so I don't know.
You went lengthy?
Yeah, you know how I
I
am.
will let you go first, because my thoughts are short and sweet.
Okay, well, I'll try to condense. I think there's a I think one of the reasons why video games have been not addictive
Mm-hmm.
for men, there's a correlation between living depression and pain with video games. Like you feel like you're in control better, from what I understand.
Why particularly men? I'm curious.
With men, there's more of because it has to do with fighting and control. It's more of a correlation with playing it. But then, like, men also seem to be, I don't know.
Do you think this
In
has
general,
do you think
it's considered more of it is considered stereotypically more of a guy thing, but on
yes.
average, men play it more.
Yeah, okay.
And then this is another thing
I would say that stereotypically it is considered a guy's thing, though it's more balanced than a lot of quote unquote guy hobbies, more
Yeah,
balanced in demographics.
probably cheaper than most guy things when it comes down to it.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking of the hobbies I'm interested in. This is by far the most affordable. And see, my hobbies are stereotypical guy things though. But so, do you think actually having a stereotypical demographic has hurt video games?
No, because I think you remember what I said about depression and like one of the highest rates of depression are in island nations, and Japan has very high suicide and depression.
Interesting.
Depression is something you don't talk about, and with men tend not to talk in general and tend not to talk depression, and most video games come out of that. And some people think that it's kind of been bad for them, including countries where depression is also a big problem, like in South Korea, but seem to have less of seem to be more of an open country culturally and have less of a suicide problem. So it's kind of interested me.
I do think that is actually legitimately an issue among guys, is that there is definitely there is less of a willingness to talk. So you think that video games are born from an expression of those ideas?
No, I think they find their cultural niche better with men because especially in high suicide countries, because it kind of is a silent way to cope with it. That possibly also for people who can't afford medication in some cases. In poorer countries, if that makes any sense. That's more theoretical on my part.
The second one, I'm sorry, does not make sense to me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. But the first one, I think there is something.
That's fine. It's a bit theoretical.
There is something to be said, I think, for the first one.
Okay.
It's an interactive art form. It's an interactive art form that generally requires less effort than participating in a book.
Yeah.
But it's more
sometimes.
Involved. But usually, I would say,
usually, yeah.
It's more
unfortunately,
involved than watching a movie. And I think for people who would be less willing to express, struggled feelings, I think it could certainly be a positive release. I don't think that's limited to just men. I think that could be easily true for both men and women. I would say that as to why video games work, I think they work because they are the most they are the one, they have a unity of art that is really unlike any other form of media.
That's true.
I consider them, and I do consider them an art form. And when something, you know, it doesn't live up to an artistic inspiration, I feel like it had, because for a video game you require, at least in modern standards, you require visual arts, you require writing, you require sound design, you require level design, and you require the interactive nature that is required of something like a book. And that's why I think they're so effective. They're a unity of artistic disciplines.
Because it's hard to pull that off in a movie, like have a consistent style.
Yes,
Like
while also
a lot of
involving the
practice for that.
viewer. And that is why I prefer video games to movies, but I also do prefer books to video games, but that's beside the point. But I think they work because they are they could be the driving art innovation of this era.
That makes sense.
I
Yeah, I
think
think
that,
I could see them like surpassing movies. I mean, they already do like monetarily, but like in other ways culturally, I think.
yes, and as much as I think that they're negative, even when dealing with depression, there's a lot of negatives to internet culture and depression and solidarity. That is
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with video games is integrating people, is the fact that how do you actually build a functional community around a video
Yeah.
game? I mean,
But I don't think it's
people
ever
will
been
say
tried done intentionally so much.
true, and I think that should be part of it. Is how do you build a functional community for video games? Not just a fan base. People say, "Oh, this is a community." It, even when people use the word community when talking about video games, they're not using community in its proper or full context. That's not to put it down. That's not to put down a fan group or a collection of people who are like-minded about a game. And even
I hate
Steam's
this.
community tab, that's not actually a functional community, though.
I hate to say it that I think that the two fandoms that actually could be called a community the best is Star Wars and Bronies. Actually, irregardless what you think of them, just like they've hit it off, I think, pretty well.
Again, I'm outside of those two communities. I don't necessarily know. I think there are communities that do have legitimacy in both virtual reality and in actual reality. But I think um, video games are one that they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
I
sometimes it just
think
appeals to solidary people. It doesn't help, but what can you do sometimes? I don't know.
right. So how do you make it more participatory? That's actually a legitimate question. I
Hmm.
would like to see that in the comments. How do you make video games more participatory, and how do you build realistic, both real life and online communities?
Another thing I had with this was that it illustrates Descartes skepticism, or the character's the body and the controller's like the soul out of time, or maybe that idea. I don't know who thought of it, like the time bound body and the timeless soul. I don't know, the soul outside of time. I don't know. I because I think that's kind of an interesting comparison, at least to that.
Interesting.
Also, I wrote down it's fun to shoot fake aliens, which is a big pull for a lot of people.
It is fun to shoot fake aliens.
I also have a favorite game, which
Okay,
I
what
wrote
is your
down.
favorite game?
For now, it's Undertale,
Okay.
because who knows, in the future it could be Baldur's Gate, because it's a really great movie, game. Baldur's Gate the movie.
I'd watch it.
Me too.
So, as for me, as for
Oh,
my... Yeah,
I
sorry,
would
go
just
for
want
it.
to talk real quick. I just said it was got a great story of minimalism. Like it's kind of against what the maximalist trends this decade.
Try to fit
Not very
everything into one video game.
yeah, it's not simulationist. It's a lot of open world games like Skyrim. Hilarious characters. I tried to heard they. I really couldn't explain the comedy. I heard that Toby Sachs said it was kind of inspired by Mr. Bean, but I've watched it. It's not quite like that. I don't know.
I did not get Mr. Bean at all from that, but I mean, I'm not. it's not my job to tell people what their inspiration is.
Yeah, he's Santa. He can do anything he wants. It's got a great art style. It's kind of like early '90s kind of look. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
not trying to be quite retro, but still. Hmm. Also
it's very
interesting.
nice. I do enjoy the art style.
Well, it's also an interesting use of secret content, like how you could like I've literally been wiki hopping because I don't feel like playing the game a second time because just like all I was just surprised like all the things you do what you could play true pacifist after playing neutral the first time.
Yeah.
It's not really deep though. Interesting thing about having non-violence, but is like, how did you feel about that?
I like the fact that there's a non-violent route.
No, I meant like it being deep. I felt like it wasn't really deep with the non-violence message and all that kind of stuff.
I'm not sure that I actually I don't think that was the main message of the story.
Hmm, really?
I think it was meant to imply depth rather than actually show depth. At least that's what I think. I mean, there's only so much you can do, and I think the implication of depth can sometimes be more effective than plumbing the depths. Is it the job of the medium to plumb the depths, or is it the job of the medium to inspire you to plumb the depths?
I'd be no, more number one, but I don't think it was going for a minimalist style anyway, so I guess it can't. It's hard to pull off consistent theme, but I'd say at the end of the day, just it just had one theme, and I don't think it did. They did pretty decently, but it only had one theme, which is okay. But for me, it replaced Ocarina of Time actually as my favorite game. I like this one better. I couldn't tell you why, except out of a kind of emotional, personal way, which, like I said, I could see Baldur's Gate or Planescape Torrent replacing this one, but this one was just so short that I could just say like, oh, for now, it's just like it's my favorite. I see it very fine tuned, and I love the music. The music is probably my favorite part. Like I would love to have Toby Fox actually score a project of mine, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
The music is lovely. I will agree with you about the music. Um, so for me, the question of a favorite game is kind of strange because if you go back and look at my classical favorite game growing up when I was a kid was Pokemon Emerald. I dumped so many hours into that, and to me, I still think that was probably not the technically best Pokemon game. I
Hmm.
think that I think
Well,
that
which one? What year was that came out? 2003, 2002.
2003, I think. I want to say three off the top of my
Oh,
head.
okay.
That was definitely the one I spent the most time on, though I think the most technically impressive ones would be the modern remakes of Crystal, Soul Silver, and Heart Gold.
Hmm.
I thought those were. I'm not entirely convinced that wasn't the zenith of Pokemon itself. I know people here are fans of Gen 6 and latter. For me, that
Was
was
six Pearl or what?
no, 4 was Pearl, 5 was black and white, which I didn't like. Then 6 was X and Y, and then Gen 7 was a la 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 la.
Sun and Moon.
Yeah, Sun and Moon. I did like Sun and Moon. I thought that they did a good job um, with some stuff. I also felt like the game was actually a little bit more challenging in Sun and Moon. I don't know if that was just me or because
I don't know.
I had a fairly unideal party throughout, um, but yeah, I thought the remakes of Crystal were kind of the height of Pokemon finding itself, finding the right art style, finding the right game balance and such. And then so that was that's sort of like my nostalgic favorite game. My emotional favorite game is probably Radiant Historia by Atlas. The truly an epic RPG. It had a good story. It had an excellent story. It had very well written characters. It had excellent soundtrack, beautiful graphics. I know some people said that it didn't make sense, and I will give them that. The very, very ending of the story, like the post credits.
Was it trying to be pretentious or what? I
No,
never played it.
it just they tried to pull a plot twist after the credits that didn't land. But
Oh, okay.
up until then, I thought it was remarkable. It was a beautiful game. It felt extremely classic, and it still might be my top one. If you just look at as for lately games that I've invested the most in, would probably be the Out of the Park Baseball Simulator. I've also invested a ton of time in Skyrim.
Oh yeah, more than me.
So the I'd probably say my favorite would be Radiant Historia, and I think it works because the character because you're able to form such a connection with characters who don't even speak.
Hmm.
There's
It probably gets. I was about to say it probably gets flack because Chrono Trigger is the game that all their JRPG time travel games are judged upon.
yeah. It's a different concept. It's a very different story. It's a very different type of game, even though they're both.
I play Chrono Trigger, but I don't think it's done by Square, right? Radiant Historia.
Radiant Historia is done by Atlas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which I'm not familiar with, but okay.
Atlas is a pretty big developer.
Okay.
But yeah, it was done by Atlas, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I think that's probably remained my favorite, just because of how much of an emotional connection it was able to make.
Interesting. Make me want to play it now. It's for DS, right?
It is for the Nintendo DS. There's a remastered version, I think, for the Switch. Is it for the Switch
Oh,
or the 3DS? I'm not sure which, but it's
could be either or anymore.
yeah.
I have enough video games to play, as you know.
Yes, I do know. So I think that's going to be where we're going to wrap it up for the day.
So I think we have enough time for Q&A time.
Do we? All right. All right. So I will let you go first.
Okay. If Nicole Watterson of Amazing World of Gumball were to fight Tabitha of Blood Covenant at the height of both their powers, who would win?
As much as I appreciate Mrs. Wooderson from the Amazing World of Gumball, she would not stand a chance.
I don't know. Nicole can throw a car, but what can Tabitha do at the height of her powers?
Magic, darling.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess we're all gonna find out in May or so.
Yes. For me, my question to you is, what game were you most excited to receive as a present at the holidays ever?
I feel like Super Mario Galaxy, but even though that's lame, but I think maybe more like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I don't know. Do you ever play that game? It's a good game.
I did not, but I've watched you play it.
Very, very good game, in my opinion. I don't know if it stands up, but I think it's very creative and makes you remind you that you are in a paper world, and that game made good use of the whole paper motif, I think.
Nice. All right, your second question for me, sir.
Okay. What do you think is the number one way contemporary fiction has lost its way or gone wrong?
By moving away from objective, by moving away from, I would argue by moving away from classical objective standards. I don't necessarily want to say just. I don't want to necessarily say morality.
Hmm.
I would either argue. I argue that it'd be a move away from the from the classical constructs of at least there being objective morality, or possibly the fact that we have a ridiculous amount of distrust for authority figures in modern literature,
Yeah.
an unhealthy amount of distrust for authority figures.
A lot of dystopian literature, I
Yeah,
think.
I think dystopian literature is a huge. Actually, I was just talking about that with Gabrielle yesterday. We were in a bookstore, and every single book that we picked up and looked at was looked at the back of dystopia this, dystopia that.
And yet we're post Cold War. We're basically post nuclear weapons. Like, what is there really to be sad about?
I'm not sure I'd argue post-nuclear weapons, but just the fact that a dystopia has gone from being a trope to being a standard, to
Genre.
being to being a
Oh yeah,
genre and a
and a standard
standard.
too. Yeah, standard. Yeah.
So I think that's at least the breakdown of the idea of order, uh, the elevation of the anti-hero, the essentially I don't mind that we've broken out of classical tropes, but we have abandoned classical constructs not for the better. Not that I'm
And it
saying.
seems like a more of a thing for this decade too. I mean, I know first Hunger Games was published in the late 2000s,
Mhm.
but it's very much a 2010s thing.
I would say it started even before that, but
I mean, the newer part of the trend. What
right,
I mean.
yeah, it was going through the walking through the science fiction section of a bookstore is boring.
Yeah.
It's very
Now you didn't see why I
boring.
like J.G. Keeley. I have limited money and limited time. I have to get the best.
That I readily agree with. It's there's so much sameness out there, and another thing that I would say, um, so if you're asking for adult literature, those are my thing. For youth literature, um, I'm going to say the lack of positive role models in youth literature,
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I
both
don't really
for
consider the world in a postmodern state. Yeah, because as much as I like Amazing World of Gumball, like it's still kind of a deconstruction of the American family. Like
true.
Richard Watterson, he's still kind of like a deconstruction of the American father. Like he's not really an improvement or much of a change against Homer Simpson. I mean, like what was the last
They're virtually
good
the same
father
character.
in a sitcom? What was a great?
Last good father in a sitcom.
Like, can you even name one? I mean, come on.
Last positively portrayed father figure
Yes,
in a sitcom.
yes.
um, I'm thinking like if you're looking for a caring but I I in a sitcom with children and a father, I like children and a father. I can't think of one. If you're looking for sort of an adult relationship that
No, more like a children to father, but that's
children
the
to father
point.
relationship,
Deconstruction is everywhere.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, to be brutally honest.
Hmm.
I can't think of one. I can think of adult children to father relationship that is allowed to become that becomes very positive over time,
But the point comes through that like there's
yeah.
everything's deconstructed and we don't really have role
Well,
models
this is the ultimate failure of postmodernism. We tore everything down. Now what? People want meaning, but we destroyed meaning. How dare they want meaning? And that's why postmodernism no longer works as an idea, because it's running out of things to tear apart, and now people want to reconstruct it from the ashes. But now they have no framework to build back upon because postmodernism told them they couldn't have one.
I think we confused deconstruction with freedom at one point, and then things the bomb kind of fell out. Looks like it's all the time we have for today,
It's all the
kids.
time for it. We had a long one, but a lot of this is going to get cut too. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas or a happy
Blessed
holiday,
Advent.
Blessed Advent, Happy New Year, all that hoopla. Whatever holidays you happen to celebrate
We
them.
don't want to offend anybody.
We don't want to offend anybody more than we already have. So please have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, yada 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 yada, and farewell for now.